Back with some more KJK VIP Prize Picks NFL and Better Picks NFL plays for you on the channel for free here today. If you're new, guys, hopefully you've been tuning into the content. If you have not, you're missing out because we have been crushing the plays. A lot of green to start the season, man. We did it again last night. Giving out 2 tickets back-to-back days. We've gone 5-1. It stinks, but the picks overall have been fantastic. The hit rate's high, and that's what's going to win you money long term on these apps. The Christian Watson fantasy score, cash. Dobbs fantasy score, cash. Reed fantasy score, cash. The guy that let us down was Jordan Love. He threw an interception, which is going to get you -2 on Better Picks, and then he went down with an injury. He could have cashed on that last drive if he did not get hurt, man. He had that big pass to Reed, and then it went down. It was like everything that needed to not happen happened. It just sucked, but we cashed on the Devontae Smith receptions, and we cashed on the Jake Elliott kicking points. So 5 of the 6 plays that I gave out for free yesterday cashed. Was able to turn 250 into 312.50. I would have loved the big $5,000 win, but the reason we play these 6-pick dynamic plays, guys, is because you're going to get the best bang for your buck long term. If you're hitting 4 or more picks correct on Better Picks and 6-pick dynamic plays, you're going to profit money. So you just keep the hit rate high. You keep hitting those green plays. And then when the big ones come, they add up quick. That 250 into 5,000, that's coming, man. It is coming. So we went 5-1 on the last video I gave out, and we also went 5-1 on Thursday Night Football. So once again, if you haven't tuned in, man, I mean, we've been hitting these picks like crazy. Let's talk about this Thursday Night Football ticket. We had the Mahomes fantasy score let us down on Thursday night. But outside of that, all green. Watson over 15.5 receiving yards. Tucker over 6.5 kicking points. Rashee Rice over fantasy scores. Zay Flowers over 4.5 receptions. The likely over 16.5 receiving yards. All this to say, the process has been fantastic. These videos are going to be breaking down the process of all that goes into my VIP plays and giving you 1 ticket for free on both Better Picks and Prize Picks that I'm playing in the VIP, right? So you can see their actual plays that I am playing, actual plays that I'm locking in. I turned 250 into 312.50 on this Thursday night, and then the same thing for that Friday night ticket that I had given out. So if you don't have Better Picks, you're going to need it to tail some of these props. The beautiful thing about this ticket that I'm about to go over in this video is I did make sure I hooked you guys up with some plays that we can actually get on both platforms, because we've been giving a lot of Better Picks plays that we can't get on Prize Picks because the payout shifts in different lines. This one, we're actually going to be able to get on both platforms, so I'm excited for that. We'll talk about it. We'll be pulling it up shortly. If you haven't signed up for Better Picks, make sure you use the link down below in the description. They're going to match you up to $200 with the promo code KJKDFest. But the easiest way is just going to click the links down below in the description. I'll also comment and pin the links, guys. That way you don't have to go through all the process. Just click the links. It's going to bring you right to where you need to go. You're going to get that deposit match, and you'll be able to tail. And the same thing on Prize Picks. They're going to give you a nice deal with my promo code. They're going to give you a $50 bonus instantly when you play $5 with the promo code KJKDFest, and I will have the link down. So take advantage of those offers and take advantage of these plays. It's going to win you a bunch of money. I'm giving a sale for the VIP as well. Keep in mind, these are actual plays that I'm playing. Actual VIP plays I'm about to share with you, right? You would have gotten it immediately if you were over in the VIP, right? Yesterday, for instance. Let me pull up that ticket that I shared on the channel for free. It was the first one, right? You would have got this sent in immediately. We had that Smith receptions, the Jake Elliott kicking points, the Love. Jake Elliott's kicking points got taken off the board. Love got bumped up to 18.5. And Devontae Smith's receptions got taken off the board, which is going to happen. You're going to see a bunch of different bumps on these platforms. If you go down to this featured product through Sunday, I'm giving 20% off with the code NFL. It's $49 a month for the recurring Discord. It's a joke. It's $1.66 a day. So hopefully this content can help you out, win you a bunch of money. And you can go over and join over there. You should have already won a bunch if you've been tuning in as stated, because we have been crushing. I mean, you saw the results, man. There's a lot of green on our screen, which makes us happy, right? A lot of green on our screen. So, let's get into it. let's go game by game. Once again, you're going to be able to get these plays on both platforms in this video, which would be fantastic. I was able to find some value that I do like on both apps, and it all starts with Mr. Evan Ingram. So we'll pull him up. He's going to be the first play on this ticket for you here today. Once again, I locked it on Betr, but I also got it locked in on Prizepicks. So Evan Ingram. Let's go ahead and break them down, guys. If you aren't familiar with Outlier, this is the handy-dandy tool that I'm using to research all of these plays. You'll see in my content, this is one of the many tools that I use, and they're going to hook you up with a 7-day completely free trial. That'll give you access to these tools of all the things I'm about to break down for you, why I like this Evan Ingram play. First of all, this guy's target volume is through the roof for where this is priced. I mean, he's exceeded 46.5 receiving yards in 5 straight games on the road. He's averaging 81.2 receiving yards per game. He's also getting targeted like crazy in this offense. If we go to his receptions prop, the over 5.5, you're going to see he's cleared this. 4.5 receptions in 6 straight games, averaging 8.7 receptions per game on the road. I mean, the target share has just been ridiculous. Jacksonville is an offense that throws 59% of the time, only runs 41% of the time. So that's going to make us very happy when we're targeting this. We're looking at a high over-under in this game. So I actually like 2 receivers in this game. Well, a wide receiver and a tight end. Tyreek Hill, I'll spoil it right now, love him. And then the run back with Evan Ingram. 49 over-under, a 26.25 implied total for the Miami Dolphins, a 22.75 implied total for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This has one of the highest totals on the entire weekend. And we're capturing some really good upside with a receiver on both sides of the game so that when this thing pops off, we're getting the fantasy points for Tyreek Hill and we're getting the fantasy points for Evan Ingram. And they're just mispriced. Both these guys have projected over by a pretty sizable margin. You just pull up Evan Ingram's game logs. Look at this volume, guys. 10 receptions on 13 targets, 6 receptions on 6 targets, 10 receptions on 15 targets. Very clearly, Trevor Lawrence is showing that he loves going to his tight end and in Evan Ingram, and he's just mispriced, man. If we do some analysis on specifically the fantasy score, for those of you that don't know how the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format works, guys, I'll go ahead and break it down. Betr has the same exact fantasy scoring format outside of the fact for QBs and fumbles. Interceptions and fumbles, you get -2. On the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format, you're only going to get -1 for that, so just keep that in mind. But overall, you know, you're getting 1 point for every reception, 6 points for those receiving touchdowns. It's PPR format for those of you that play fantasy football. I mean, it's just standard PPR format. And Ingram at 11.5 is, you know, simply too low, man. He's simply too low. So that is my first play here that I like locking in this 6-pick flex, right? The Evan Ingram over 11.5 fantasy score. Love that. Cleared it in 4 of the last 5. I really don't care about that. The matchup's good as well. And it's just the volume and where he's priced. I've got this guy projected to go out there and put up. We talked about all these receptions, right? You get a fantasy point for every single time that he gets a reception. And I have him projected to go out there and score 14 fantasy points. So it's too low. It's simply a misprice on this fantasy score. The Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer is another tool that I like to be using when I'm analyzing props. And you can see they have his best prop on the entire board, the over 11.5 fantasy points. This is a tool that I'm oftentimes using. They have esports. I'm going to continue to promote that they have esports because this tool has been very helpful for me with CS2 and esports plays. If you didn't tune into my video, I made $30,000 in 3 days on esports using this tool. So you can check that out in my CS2 playlist on my channel, and you can use my link down below to get 25% off this tool. They're going to help you out with all of these different sports. And like I said, they do have esports, which makes them a little unique compared to some other platforms. 50.76% hit rate. You can see all these sports books have it projected to go over here. Caesars, BetMGM, like 11.8, 12 fantasy points, etc. is what they're saying. I've actually got them projected higher than that. So that'll be play number 1. We like that Evan Ingram fantasy score. And once again, we can lock these plays in on Betr as well. So I've actually gone ahead and locked it in on both platforms, okay? So hopefully that makes sense because they're the same exact lines and it's the same fantasy scoring format. outside of the fact, I'll continue to repeat it because it cost us last night on the Jordan Love. Just outside of the fact that you do get -2 for interceptions and -2 for fumbles on better picks. But so the first two is going to be Tyreek Hill, Evan Ingram over fantasy score. As you can see, have them both projected over. We talked about this game environment. We can talk about the Tyreek Hill side of things. I mean, I got this guy projected to go out there and put up in the mid-20s. So the 19.5, yes, please. I've got him projected to go out there and get, 24 fantasy points, which makes a ton of sense when you're looking at a 26.25 implied total for his team. And a guy that's targeted as heavily as Tyreek Hill is, he's a fantasy score cheat code, man. I mean, he really is. We can once again analyze all these different props on the board for Tyreek Hill that he's been clearing. You can see all of the different volume that's going towards him. It's really ridiculous. We can talk about the matchup, all of these different things, all of these different data points, right? I've already done all this research for you guys. But if we go to, let's go to his over 99.5, you can see he has failed to exceed the 99.5 mark, which is an alt line. But if we go to his standard prop of the 97, really the receptions is what I want to discuss here. Because not only does he have, the receiving yards upside, but the PPR format, when you get a point for every single reception, we talked about Evan Ingram. Tyreek Hill is the same thing. 6.5 receptions in 4 of the last 5 games. He's gone over 7.6 receptions per game on average. You get a fantasy point for every one of those. Jacksonville's defense is terrible in receptions allowed. They're 27th in the entire NFL. That's bottom 3. They're 23rd in the entire NFL as far as receptions allowed to specifically the wide receiver position. So these are all great things for Tyreek Hill. His fantasy score upside, it's just ridiculous. 32, 25, 30, 21. What else can I say? All the projections are going to factor in his receptions, his volume. And then when we look at the red zone targets, we want to be, obviously getting as much upside as we possibly can in the target share of this offense. Tyreek Hill accounts for 31.1% of this offense's targets. 171 targets last year. That's ridiculous. A third of the plays when Tua drops back are going to Tyreek Hill on passing plays. Like, that is absurd. So that's going to make us really, really happy. And like I said, we're targeting his over. So if we look at the statistics here specifically versus the wide receiver position, we talked about the target share. We already talked about this, but they're 26th are the Jacksonville Jaguars. So good matchup, ton of volume, and he's just mispriced. We have to play the board where they price these props and take advantage of where they have them at. So being that I have him projected, go out there and put up 24, yes, please. Bijan Robinson is going to be our next guy that we're talking about. We're going to be taking the over 3.5 receptions. Go ahead and pull up the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer for this prop because you're going to see very quickly. First of all, Tyreek Hill, once again, over 19.5 fantasy score is going to be the best possible prop on the board for Daily Grind Fantasy. They're pulling in all these sportsbooks, guys. So Pinnacle has him projected for 19.8, FanDuel 19.6, DraftKings has him all the way up to 20.1, 20.1, 20. So it's the best possible prop you can get on the board. He also is possibly expected to score a touchdown at -125 juice on the over on DraftKings. I do prefer the fantasy because I think he can surpass his fantasy without even scoring a touchdown. We talked about with all the different receptions, the receiving yards, etc. If he wants to go out there and score 2 touchdowns, we will not complain. But we already factored in all of these things into our projection. We have Bijan Robinson as the next one, the over 3.5 receptions. He's finally got a new QB, and we're looking at a bunch of different sports books favoring his over here. We got the Pinnacle, the sharpest sports book in the entire world, at -139 on his over. So they're saying you have to risk $139 to win $100 because it is very likely that he's going to go this over 3.5 receptions. Not a prop he was hitting at a very high rate last year, but guys, we got some new personnel that I'm excited about for this prop, right? We got Kirk Cousins in the backfield. No disrespect to the Atlanta Falcons, previous starting QB last year, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Kirk Cousins is a bit of a better pocket passer. I think Bijan's going to be involved in the passing game. He should be. I mean, they drafted this guy. He's a dynamic playmaker, not only on the ground, through the air. He can get the job done in so many different ways. They need to get him the ball, and they really failed to do so last year. I think they know this. I think everybody kind of knows it. Like, it's kind of the elephant in the room. Like, get Bijan the ball and let him do what he does. 7 receptions, 7 receptions, 5 receptions, and then 1 and 3. Do you think Kirk Cousins coming in, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, the acquisition, Kyle Pitts, going to help the pass game? I think they're going to be targeting Bijan Robinson heavily, as they should be, and the sports books are agreeing with us on his receptions. We are looking at some pretty nice value for Mr. Bijan Robinson. We like the over 3.5. You can actually get this on FanDuel at a really solid price if you're someone that's a FanDuel user. Would highly recommend you take that bet over there because you're getting minus 115. It's actually an expected value bet. We're looking at minus 137 for DeVig odds if we're factoring in Pinnacle. All these different sports books, Caesars up to minus 150 on the over 3.5. Underdog's gone ahead and completely nerfed this to where it's minus 164 on their app. They're saying it's way too good of a prop. So, yes, please, Bijan Robinson. A lot of games last year, 30% of the time he failed that 3 out of 10. But like I said, it's not concerning me. New offense, new personnel, right? And he's third in the entire offense in target share with a 16.9% target compared to Pitts 17, Drake London's 21. You know, the big three is Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. We just need 4 receptions from the guy, man. And I think we get it. The books are agreeing with us. So I certainly do like Bijan Robinson's receptions. Tank Dell. The Texans. I love this prop, man. The Texans brought in Stephon Diggs, and they already got Nico Collins. Now, you might say, well, that's going to hurt Tank Dell because the receptions, you know, the target share is not going to quite be there for him. I disagree. He's going to be the wide receiver 3. He's solidified. He's out there on the field for a ton of snaps during preseason. Don't see them, you know, limiting his workload or snap count. They're going to do a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. It's going to be Robert Woods that's going to see less time on the field. You know, John Miechie. They don't need them out there. It's going to be a lot of Tank Dell, Diggs, Nico Collins, running 3 wide receiver sets. And when they are out there with C.J. Stroud, guess what? Diggs and Nico Collins are going to be capturing a lot of attention. Tank Dell is a guy that I had going over a ton last year. And now he's on an offense with even more weapons. Like, you have to pick your poison with this Texans offense. And I think him being the wideout 3 is actually going to help him in a big way. I mean, he's absolutely crushing this fantasy score before he went down with injury last year. 17, 28, 18, 29. Keep in mind, there was no Stephon Diggs. So I'm sure last year, you know, he was priced more so at like 15 fantasy score. I'm taking this over 10.5 with confidence now. Once again, it's just going to help him, man. There's going to be more defensive attention on these other guys, such as a Stephon Diggs, such as a Nico Collins is what I'm getting at. And you can see he's exceeded 10.5 in 4 of his last 5, 18.9 fantasy points per game on average. And if we look at his receptions, his targets, all that stuff, all of these different concepts that we're talking about, I mean, like, he's exceeded 3.5 receptions in 4 of his last 5 games. He's averaging 5 receptions. Look at the target share. Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Robert Woods, Tank Dell. Obviously, once again, we do have Diggs added into the mix, but it doesn't bother me with where he's priced. I've got Tank Dell projected to go out there and put up in this spot 13 fantasy points. You know, an entire 3-point edge. It might not seem like a big deal, but it really is. So I love the fact that we're getting him at a discount. I don't care that Stephon Diggs was added into the equation. I think that just helps Tank Dell. They have to pick their poison. Him being the wideout 3 should make him, you know, if anything, I think he'd be able to slow through the defense with all the attention going to Diggs and Collins and get open for some big plays. And they do have a 26 implied team total. So, you know, Tank Dell in that red zone wouldn't hurt our feelings if he's able to get in there. If we break down the red zone target share for this team, Tank with 8 targets last year wasn't able to stay healthy. And then once again, it's just where he's priced, man. They throw the ball a ton. 59% of the time this offense is throwing the ball. So that makes me happy. And then rounding things out, we got the 2 guys in this Detroit game. I absolutely love these 2 plays to finish off this ticket. Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. This game's expected to be a major shootout. And these guys, I mean, I think are going to absolutely crush. A 28.5 implied team total for the Lions. This game has a 52.5 over-under. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The target share we know for St. Brown is going to be huge. through the roof. Massive implied team total. We're not scared of this Rams defense whatsoever. We'll go ahead and break down Amon-Ra first. And you're going to see a lot of the same things, right? We talked about the target share, Tyreek Hill, Evan Ingram. You know, it's just going to be through the roof. He's exceeded 17.5 in 6 straight games at home, by the way, where he's putting up 21.9 fantasy points. So a guy that's really performed very well at home, where he's going to be in this matchup, taking on this Los Angeles Rams squad. And if we break down, you know, some of the other props as far as how they're slowing down receivers and all that stuff, we're not worried about it. He's exceeded 84.5 receiving yards in 4 of his last game at an 80% hit rate. And we're looking at the LA squad versus the wide receiver position. They're 23rd in the entire NFL. I know we're dealing with a lot last year's data, but the secondary has just not been good. That's bottom 7. So a ton of receptions, PPR format, ton of volume, a 28.5 implied total, and the same thing for Goff. You know, all of these things are factored into my projection. I've just got these guys going way over these 2 fantasy scores. So I'm really excited to take both because it's the QB and the wide receiver combo when Goff is performing well, throwing those touchdowns. You know, Amon-Ra is going to be on the receiving end for my official projections for these guys. I mean, I've got Goff going out there and getting 20, and I've got Amon-Ra going over by a pretty sizable margin. So you can see all of these different things. LA ranked 27th in allowing passing touchdowns, 28th in passing yards, 38th in pass attempts. I mean, it's just it's a beautiful matchup for him, taking on this squad. In the LA Rams, Vegas is implying it with the 28.5, and then we know Amon-Ra is the #1 wideout. We know he's going to get just shelled with targets. You know, we pulled up all of his receiving yards, his receptions. All of these different things are going to be really good. For us, he's repeated those 6.5 at home, like we said. The home road splits make us happy. These are all really fantastic things for these 2 props. So I didn't just lock them in on Prizepicks. I also did lock them in on Betr. Take advantage of the deposit matches they're going to give you guys with my links and my promo codes, right? We talked about Prizepicks. They're going to give you that nice deal. When you play $5, you're going to get $50 instantly with my promo code KJKDFS. And then for the Betr portion of the program, you're also going to be getting the $200 deposit match with the promo code KJKDFS. And once again, guys, it's the same fantasy scoring format outside of the fact that you get -2 for interceptions and fumbles. So that will hurt you a little more on Betr. I just do want to make that known. You have to know the fantasy score format that you are getting on the platform that you're playing. It's very important. But you can see all these lines are the exact same at the time of recording this. If they get bumped up or removed, I apologize. But the Tyreek Hill over 19.5 fantasy points, Evan Ingram over 11.5 fantasy points, Bijan Robinson over 3.5 receptions, Jared Goff over 17.5 fantasy points, Amon-Ra St. Brown over 17.5 fantasy points, and Tank Dell over 10.5. Okay? 6-pick dynamic play is what you're going to be playing on Betr. If you get 6 out of correct, you're going to 20x your money. If you get 5 correct, you're going to 1.25x your money. If you get 4 correct, you're going to 1.05x your money. It's the best type of slip you can be playing over there, and you're going to want to be playing a 6-pick flex on Prizepicks, where if we go ahead and break down their payout, you're going to see you're going to get 25x if you get 6 out of 6 correct, 2x if you get 5 correct, and 0.4x if you get 4 out of 6 correct. That's how those are going to break down for you. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't checked out the VIP, get in there, guys. These are actual VIP plays that I'm playing. Just keep in mind, it's only 1 ticket, man. It's only 1 ticket. There's a bunch of more plays over there. We had a bunch of different people in the winner's circle cashing in on their NFL plays last night. So shout out to everyone that's cashing in with all of these. I know Pete Sosa had a huge night last night in the NFL, 40 into 640 in the winner's circle, and he had a bunch of underdog wins as well here. So that's all fantastic stuff here. Love to see everyone winning. Hoping to help you win for free here on the channel. Best of luck on your Prizepicks NFL player props, your Betr NFL player props for this week 1 NFL slate, and we will see you in the next one.